It was that personal humiliation that led him to become the #1 terrorist in the world.
For bin Laden, the U.S. troops massing in the desert are living proof that the United States is the great infidel, and that all U.S. allies in the Middle East are enemies of Allah. He begins to spread the word to his followers that the Saudi royal family must be overthrown. At the same time, bin Laden's far-flung jihad network is roaring to life. New York, November 5th, 1990. This 34-year-old Egyptian named El Said Nosser dons the yarmulke of an observant Jew and pockets a .357 Magnum revolver. Nosser belongs to the Al Farouk Mosque in Brooklyn, a top jihad outpost in the U.S. Nosser enters a ballroom at this Midtown Manhattan hotel. Rabbi Meir Kahane, head of the tiny but violent Jewish Defense League, is finishing a speech to his followers. As Kahane steps down from the podium, Nosser pulls out the gun, fires twice, and a fatal shot enters the rabbi's throat. Nosser flees the hotel, but an armed postal officer shoots him, and police arrest him.
For the public, and largely for law enforcement, the killing of Kahane was portrayed as one crazy Arab killing one crazy Jew. That wasn't the case.
We all now realize that was really the first major incident on U.S. soil that the radical Islamists conducted, the ones that we currently know today as Al-Qaeda.
FBI and police searched Nosser's home here in Cliffside Park, New Jersey. They find more than 1,000 rounds of ammunition, bomb-making formulas, U.S. military training manuals, and a hit list of other prominent Jews. They haul 47 boxes of this material to this police precinct. It's a treasure trove of intelligence. But the authorities, the DA, the NYPD, the FBI, overlook most of it. While the FBI investigates some suspicious individuals at the Al Farouk Mosque, they do not investigate the mosque itself. So they fail to establish that the mosque is being used as a front by a terror cell with connections to bin Laden and his growing jihad network.
The FBI at that time was working under a very tight set of guidelines, which made it extremely difficult to collect information inside any kind of religious organization, and certainly any church or mosque.
All it took was that people in the FBI and the CIA to do their job and talk to each other and connect the dots and share the intelligence. If that had happened on the road to 9/11, it wouldn't have happened.
The next step on the road to 9/11 will be a casual conversation between two boyhood friends. Brooklyn, New York, November 1991. Members of the Al Farouk Mosque are raising funds for the defense of El Said Nosser. Nosser is about to go on trial for the murder of Rabbi Meir Kahane. Osama bin Laden personally contributes $20,000 to the legal defense fund. Outspoken civil rights attorney William Kunstler is hired to defend Nosser. Eyewitnesses testify they saw Nosser crouched by Kahane holding a gun. But Kunstler convinces the jury that no scientific evidence links Nosser to the shooting. The Egyptian is found guilty only of a minor weapons charge.
Nosser had been pretty much a nobody, and overnight, the murder of Kahane vaulted him from nobody status to somebody who was in the Jihad Hall of Fame.
New York, September 1st, 1992. A Pakistani Airlines flight from Karachi lands here at Kennedy Airport. Seated in the first-class cabin, Ramzi Youssef. He's traveling with a Palestinian terrorist named Ahmad Ajaj. The two men exit the plane and approach parallel stalls at an immigration post. The 6-foot-tall Youssef, dressed in a 3-piece silk Afghan suit, presents a perfectly forged Iraqi passport. He demands political asylum. When immigration officials question Ajaj, they discover that he's carrying several crudely fake passports and a suitcase stuffed with bomb-making manuals.
If he'd been wearing a T-shirt that said terrorist, he couldn't have been more clear that he was up to no good.
Immigration agents take Ajaj into custody. They assign him a bed at this INS detention facility. But Youssef is allowed into the U.S. and told to appear at an immigration hearing. The men's performance has worked like a charm.
Ajaj creates such a stir and commotion and smokescreen that Ramzi Youssef, the Mozart of terror, is able to slip into America.
Youssef trolls the airport cab stand until he finds a Pakistani driver. He hands the cabbie a slip of paper with an address, 552 Atlantic. Brother, I have just arrived from Karachi, he says. I have friends who will pay. The driver takes him here to the Al Farouk Mosque. Youssef receives the blessings of a blind Egyptian cleric who is now in charge of the mosque, Sheikh Omar Abdul Rahman. The blind sheikh, as he is known, is an ally of Osama bin Laden. He has approved Youssef's plan to place a truck bomb in the basement of the World Trade Center. Throughout the fall and winter, Youssef and 3 other members of the Al Mosque are hard at work inside this storage facility in Jersey City, New Jersey, just across the Hudson River from Manhattan. Under Youssef's direction, they assemble the device they hope will topple the Twin Towers and kill thousands of people. February 26, 1993. 2 strands of Islamic terrorism converge for an attack on this symbol of America's global dominance. The blind sheikh provides the manpower and inspiration. Ramzi Youssef, the bomb-making expertise. Hovering in the background is the growing Al-Qaeda network, led by Osama bin Laden. Youssef packs a rented Ryder truck with a volatile mixture of 1,500 pounds of fertilizer, fuel oil, and nitroglycerin. Around noon, he and 3 colleagues parked the truck in a garage 2 stories beneath the North Tower of the World Trade Center. Minutes later, Youssef lights the fuse with a cheap cigarette lighter and speeds off. 12:17 p.m. The bomb rips a 7-story hole right through the tower's core. 6 people are killed.
It became clear that this was a declaration of war, and it was a campaign that was being waged and a campaign that was being planned.
Across the river, Youssef watches a column of smoke rise over lower Manhattan. He knows he has failed. The bomb was not powerful enough.
He was disappointed that he hadn't sent Tower 1 crashing into Tower 2. And from that moment on, Ramzi Youssef vowed that he or his operatives would return to New York and finish the job he'd started in 1993.
That night, Youssef makes his way to New York's JFK airport. Before the bombing, he had drafted a letter claiming credit for the attack on behalf of what he calls the 5th Battalion of the Liberation Army. According to an FBI source, Youssef calls one of his fellow terrorists from the airport. He dictates a new ending to the letter. It states, "Our calculations were not very accurate this time. However, we promise you that next time it will be very precise. And the Trade Center will be one of our targets."